Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 3. This week we're going to go right into talking about what our assignments are. So I have a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. In some of the papers that I've read over the last week or so, and I'll know I have more papers to read, one of the things that we're going to talk about, or one of the things that was mentioned, particularly with your smarter measure, is that you need to learn how to construct an essay. Well, that's one of the things that we're going to be covering this week. So, and I mentioned, I think, to those of you who said something about it, that we were going to go ahead and cover that in later assignments. So here we are. We're going to learn to also apply research methods and MLA citations. So you've had a couple of videos on that already, and we're going to delve into that a little more this week. We're going to identify requirements for the different types of assignments. So we want to make sure that you understand when you look at an assignment how to be able to decipher it so that you can make sure you get everything that's needed for that assignment done so that you can get a great grade for it. We want you to be able to express the benefits of thinking vocationally. Last week you were asked a question about what's the difference between vocation and occupation, and here we're going to ask you this week to look at what does it mean when you think vocationally. And then finally this week we're asking you to create an e-portfolio, and we'll talk a little bit about that in this assignment. Now, I want to also tell you that I may be creating 2 videos this week simply because of the amount of materials that we're going to cover. All right, so let's look at our reading this week. This week we're going to do with Smith, thinking vocationally, and then there are 4 different callings. I can tell you right now my calling is teaching. It took me a long time to get back to that. Knew about it perhaps when I was in my early 20s and rejected it. Bad thing to do when you're dealing with our Lord, but He brings you about. Thankfully, He was merciful and patient with me, but He brought me back around. Turabian, we're looking at evaluating sources for relevance and reliability. So that means looking at your websites. What kind of websites? Not only websites, but research materials. How do you look at all of that and make sure that it's reliable, it's relevant, it's what you need? Okay, so also looking at what a research argument is and what it is not. How do you build your argument around answers to a reader's question? That's all part of learning how to write an essay, making sure that you understand what it is you're trying to bring across to your reader. And then finally, assembling the core of your argument. So how do you pull it all together? Looking at your research, looking at pulling it all together so that it makes sense, it's logical, and then you can defend it. You can defend it not only with your thought process, but also with the process of incorporating the materials that you're learning or that you want to bring to the attention of the reader. With your supplemental readings, we're looking at understanding assignments. There is reading material. It's located in the resource folder. And understanding a writing assignment, how to decipher the paper. Again, looking at the resource folder, you'll find the readings that you need there. You do have some media that you're going to be watching this week, and one is the basic essay structure. So that one is pretty good. And I do recommend that you watch it and listen to it. It will help you to learn how to put together a good essay. Looking at why do you need to build a portfolio, an e-portfolio, and how do you create one? What kind of information would you look at? And then finally we're looking at how to create a free professional e-portfolio using Google Sites. There are other pieces of software that you can use to create an e-portfolio that are free. We're going to give you a list of them later with one of your assignments. But this one, I will just let you know right now, we point or gear things toward Google Sites. But as I said, there are others that you can use. You're welcome to use them. I can help you a little more with Google Sites than I can with other pieces of software. So that's where we're gearing everything toward. Okay, so the first assignment that we have is interpreting. How do we interpret assignments? And that's where we're asking you to read the papers that are available to you. Those, like I said, were both in the resource folder. And then we also give you a sample assignment. To get this assignment done, you have to be able to read a sample assignment. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Sample assignment. Let's pull it up. So here is our sample assignment. It goes into detail. It provides you everything you need to be able to answer the questions. Okay, so you have to pull that up. And then you're to answer questions on the assignments worksheet that, or template that we've given you. And let me pull that up for you. There it is. Okay, so that's what the interpreting assignment worksheet looks like. There are 5 questions. We want you to be able to answer them. There are certain things that we will be looking for in the assignment. Okay, let's move on to assignment number 2, the basic essay structure. So we give you the basic essay structure. We have an introduction and the thesis statement. You have generally at least 3 paragraphs for your essay. This is where you will use your arguments, whatever you want to bring to the attention of the reader. And then finally you close your paper with a conclusion and restatement of your thesis. Now, some people say, in conclusion, da 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 da. I don't recommend doing that. You really don't need to, and it's part of learning how to write well. So hopefully you won't feel compelled to do that as part of your closing for your statement. Now, again, we point you back to the video that helps you with writing a paper. What we want you to do with this assignment is we want you to choose the side of the following topic. Does social media can or cannot help a church reach a wider audience? So we're giving you a topic. You decide which side of the topic you want to support. Okay, and then what we want you to do is to create a thesis statement and outline. Create a thesis statement, an outline, and a concluding statement. That is what we want for the assignment. Okay, so we also give you this read the basic essay structure document. So you can click on that. Here it is. And you can choose the side. So with this, it gives you the basic structure, and we say we want your opening statements, what's drawing in your reader, and what's the idea of your thesis for your thesis statement. Then you provide us with 3 ideas of how you're going to support your thesis statement, and then your conclusion. Now on page 2 of this document, we also give you an example of how this paper should be written. Okay, so we have an introduction and opening statement. The internet spans the globe and is available to many households. But the thesis statement says, nevertheless, social media cannot help the church reach a wider audience because there are still many areas in the world that do not have the internet infrastructure, are poverty-stricken, and have a majority of the people who cannot read. So that thesis statement tells me as a reader that there's not enough internet across the world, that there's poverty across the world that prevents people from getting to the internet, and that there's still literacy issues with people across the world. So here's my first one. It covers the internet. And here's the evidence to support it. I have a report that I pulled off the internet that says that most of us don't think about what it takes to connect to the internet. And so this report helps me to realize that. The second idea that I had was that we still have poverty to deal with in the world. So there are many areas in the world that are poverty stricken and do not have necessary funds to build the internet infrastructure. And here I provide a couple of websites that tell us that indeed that this is an issue across the world. And not only that, I support it with a biblical verse that I think helps to support that statement. And then the third idea was that the majority of the people in third world countries are not literate. They can't read. And here's a report that I pulled that for evidence that states that indeed this is a true fact. So my concluding statement says that we can see the Lord tell us there will always be people who need our help, and social media cannot help reach this wider audience. So those are the things that I use to help support this particular structure. This is exactly what I want to see when you turn in this report. I don't want to see a written essay. I want to see how you can support this idea. Can social media help the church or not? Yes or no? And what evidence do you have that supports that? Okay, I'm going to stop right there with this particular assignment. So that's assignment 3-2. You've seen how to do it. I'm going to do another video and we're going to talk about assignments 3-3 and 3-4. So stay tuned. We'll have some more.